Hi, my name is Katie Ish, and I teach BioLit at Adams Central Jet Tech. BioLit is a freshman integrated course of Biology 1 and English 9, and I'm the English teacher. So today I'm going to share a little bit about the Finding Food project that we completed with our freshman class. In this project, our students were challenged by the Macmillan Health Center to create an awareness campaign that advocated action on food-related issues. So for the entry event for this project, we invited a guest speaker from Macmillan Health Center, which is a local educational facility. And our guest speaker spoke to our students about the many food issues that we have in our country today. And while she was speaking, I took notes from her presentation, and then I made an entry document that captured the topics and ideas that she discussed. And this combination worked great as an entry event because the guest speaker was engaging, and then the entry document that I created provided some clear direction that the student needed to get going on the project. So by the end of our entry event, students were engaged and excited to start, and they also had a good understanding of what they needed to do. My co-teacher and I, when we build a project, we really look at it in 3 major steps, and then each step is linked to one or more benchmarks. So the first step of a project for us is building background knowledge. And students did this in this project by reading and discussing the book, The Omnivore's Dilemma, and by learning information from the chapters from their biology textbook. And there were 2 benchmarks for this first step. The first benchmark involved creating an idea graph that compared industrial farming to local sustainable farming based on information that they got from the Omnivore's Dilemma, and taking tests on some biology chapters. And then the second benchmark was taking a final test for biology and the Omnivore's Dilemma. The second step of a project that we do in our course is diving into deeper learning. So for this benchmark, when we were really diving into kind of the meat of the project, students chose a food-related issue that they felt was especially important, and they completed an argumentative college-ready assessment over their topic. So I used the 10th grade argumentative rubric to assess their performance, and then the quality of the work that I got from my students was just much higher than I received in the past. And I think that this was due to a combination of both my students and me just really feeling pushed, because using this rubric and these assessments require a level of really rigorous critical thinking and writing skills, and it forced me to provide strong scaffolding for my students so that they could work at that level, and it also pushed my students to really strive for some good results. So we were just really excited about the quality of work we got, and we were impressed with our papers. So when we finished diving in and they had really gotten a good understanding of a specific issue, we moved on to the third step of our project. And for us, the third step of a project is actually producing the project. And the benchmark that was tied to this step asked students to work in group and produce an awareness campaign for the Macmillan Health Center over their food-related issues. And they could do this in many ways. They could make a public service announcement or an advertising campaign or letters to the editor, just something to raise awareness in the community of this issue and what we could do about it, and to persuade them to think that way. There were a lot of scaffolding activities that went along with this project because the project lasted for almost 6 weeks. So we did a lot of scaffolding, but one piece of scaffolding that I felt was especially effective was looking at bias in nonfiction pieces. We explored this issue of bias by watching excerpts from 2 documentaries, and these 2 documentaries were directly against each other and had very different views on food consumption, and specifically the fast food industry. And it was Super Size Me and Fathead. And by watching these videos, bias was very evident, and students reflected on the bias and how it affected the believability or the credibility of that source. And by seeing bias so clearly in these documentaries, then that really helped them when we were reading The Omnivore's Dilemma and researching the articles that they needed for their college-ready assessment to notice bias in those pieces. And it also helped them to kind of watch out when they were writing their college-ready assessment or creating their awareness campaign, to be persuasive but not necessarily to show their bias. Overall, students really enjoy the project, and in our project reflection, we got great feedback from them. But the part that they were really most engaged by was our field trip. After we finished reading The Omnivore's Dilemma and we had learned about local sustainable farms, we went to visit one. And this was an amazing experience for our students. Even though we live in a rural area, many of our students are only familiar with industrial farming. So it was great to see a different approach. And the farm was beautiful, and our tour guides owned the farm, and they were very knowledgeable, and it really was impactful for our students. It was a great memory. And then after our farm visit, we stopped by McMillan Health Center, and we were able to kind of touch base with our guest speaker again, who got the whole project going, catch up with her and see how things were going, and she was able to ask us questions and provide us different additional information. And then while we were there, we had a caterer who also owns a local organic farm do a demonstration of how to prepare an organic lunch, and then we had lunch there. We ate an organic lunch at McMillan Health Center. So it was really neat for us to be able to experience what we had been reading about, and that was a very memorable part of our project. So overall, the combination of the real-world issues of our project, along with the guest interactions and the field trip, made this project a favorite with both the students and my co-teacher and me. And then the addition of the College Ready assessment really added a rigor to the project and gave us all a feeling of accomplishment at the end. So thank you for letting me share my Finding Food project with you.